Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. This is Jim Roddey, and welcome to the Best of Allegheny County. The focus of our show is to introduce you to successful people who have a personal connection to Allegheny County. Whether these special people were born here or moved here, we want to tell you their stories. The show is presented by St. Barnabas, which has been caring for people in southwestern PA since 1900. Today in Allegheny, Beaver, and Butler counties, we offer the full continuum of care, including independent living, living assistance, skilled care, memory care, home care, and so much more. And we are going to have a very, very lively and interesting discussion today. We're going to talk about something that every family deals with in one way or another. Every family has a family member or a friend or a relative that has a problem with their memory. Either dementia or they're having a little forgetfulness. We all go through that. And, of course, those that have Alzheimer's. Right now, about 8.5 million people in this country have Alzheimer's, and that's just the tip of the iceberg, because those that are taking care of people with Alzheimer's, the caregivers, there's about 14 or 15 million of them. They are as much at risk for their lifestyle as the person with Alzheimer's. So it's a real crisis. And at St. Barnabas, we're addressing that, and we have a lady with us this morning, Midge Hobaugh, and Midge is in charge of our memory care program, which we are very proud of, and we feel that at St. Barnabas we really have taken a leadership role. And we're going to talk about some very interesting things today. Joining Midge will be Frank Glazer, and Frank is an unusual volunteer. He's a dancing man. Frank is with Pittsburgh Ballroom. And do you have a title, or are you just...
I'm a volunteer. I happen to be on the board, but I'm merely a volunteer.
Well, it sounds like a very fun organization. And we're also going to be talking to Sarah Murphy. Sarah is, well, she has a very impressive title, a Vice President, Programs and Services of Alzheimer's Association Greater Pennsylvania Chapter. She is the lady in all of Pennsylvania that really is leading the charge for volunteers and organizations involved in the fight against Alzheimer's. Midge, first of all, how did you get interested in memory care? I know that you've been in the healthcare business a long time, but memory care is something that's relatively new. What was your interest in it, and how did you get involved?
Back in 2012, St. Barnabas had a secure dementia care unit and wanted to do more for the residents residing in that unit, and a memory care program was born at St. Barnabas, and we focus on behaviors to guide us in our reaction to and our response to folks living with all forms of dementia. And we found that a behaviorist approach is the most dignified one, so that we can listen to whatever their behavior is telling us, find the strengths of that person to meet any need that they may have. So we had a behaviorist perspective since our inception back in 2012, and we've grown that program based on the success that we experienced in one building. We've grown it to 4 of our campuses.
Wow. And how many people are involved in the memory care program right now?
Well, it varies, but we have approximately 30% of our living assistants and skilled nursing population.
So that's a large number.
It is. Well, and it's going to grow.
And you're working very closely with the Alzheimer's Association also.
We do.
Sarah, when did you start with Alzheimer's, and what was your reason for working with that organization?
Well, thank you. So I have a personal connection with this disease. I started off as a volunteer, as we talk about the value of a volunteer. I started with the Alzheimer's Association actually in Virginia when I was about 22 years old. And I started
you can't be much older than that now.
Thank you. Not a day after that. And so I actually started my employment with the Alzheimer's Association a little over 10 years ago. So I've served in the role of enhancing care and support and training and educating caregivers about the impact of the disease and where there is for support. So absolutely, it's personal to me, but also I have a gerontology background, and due to the personal experience I had with my grandmother, I actually decided to take the path and go into gerontology and really devote my life to helping those who are dealing with this disease.
Well, now tell us how you came to be the lead person in Pennsylvania. You married someone that moved to Erie, Pennsylvania?
Yes, we transferred here from Erie, Pennsylvania. My husband's in the radio industry, and so had an opportunity to pursue some career enhancements. And so we moved to Erie about 4 years ago and had a wonderful opportunity to take a position for the Greater Pennsylvania chapter, and was able to relocate to Pittsburgh and be able to see it and to meet a lot of great individuals, create partnerships and leverage volunteers is a passion and really the focus of the Alzheimer's Association. And so, just was able to have a great opportunity to come to Pennsylvania and to do some work with the association.
Great. St. Barnabas's memory care program. We're very proud of it, and you see memory programs all the time, all across the state. I feel like we're doing a lot of things that are leading edge and things that I would never have imagined would be happening in a memory care program. But you're the expert. What's your opinion?
Well, we love our partnership, I think, with St. Barnabas Health System. We value the opportunities we have to have support groups, be able to have education with families. I think that they value quality care, and that is something that aligns with the Alzheimer's Association and our goal for families to be able to have quality care. So I know that they do that. We have the opportunity to collaborate with them on training of their staff. So that is something that is very much, I think, the cornerstone of what all organizations want to do. And so we've had the opportunity to do training, family education, and outreach with St. Barnabas, and that is a really great investment on their end to align with us. And so it's been a great partnership, and we look forward to opportunities to come with them.
Well, as I look at the program at St. Barnabas and the memory care, I realize that we spend almost as much time caring for and caring about the caregivers as we do the people that actually have Alzheimer's. And is that common everywhere?
Taking care of the caregiver, that is of utmost importance. If you think about the impact and the duration of the caregiver that it has, being able to care and provide education and empowering the caregiver is huge. And, being able to provide that support and letting them know that they're not alone, that is of utmost importance. And I think the ability to have memory cafes, support groups, and opportunities for caregivers to have an outlet is very important. And I know that St. Barnabas is good at doing that.
Now, are there volunteers available that can give the caregivers a break once in a while? If you're a caregiver and you have an Alzheimer's patient that you're caring for, it's day after day after day and going through the same routines. And these people have another life, and that's what they're doing, but they do have other things that they have to do. Are there volunteers that can come in and help that? Midge?
So with St. Barnabas, we do have volunteers within our health system, and they are available to come in home to folks that are at St. Barnabas. So we have a robust program that can offer support to those that are already in St. Barnabas's care. We also offer respite care, where caretakers can bring their person that is living with the disease for a short stay, from 1 day on up to 30 days for respite care support. And that often is a bridge for families to test the waters to see if long-term care is for them and works for their family. And we also refer them, if we don't have a volunteer, we can refer them to our home care department that can provide companion support. And we also refer them to the Alzheimer's Association to take advantage of their list of vetted volunteers, as well as their church community. We recommend that because oftentimes church communities will wrap around folks that truly do need a little bit of time alone versus time caring for their loved one with dementia. And that should not be viewed as a negative, but rather a positive, because when the caregiver takes care of themselves, they're oftentimes a better caregiver.
Frank, we have tried at St. Barnabas to do things that are different. And we started with virtual reality, and we would have the people that had a memory problem or had Alzheimer's put the headsets on or the glasses on, and they would see themselves in another location, another world, in Paris or something. And it was remarkable, and you could see them smile and begin to realize that they were having a moment of joy and remembrance, memories that are coming back to them. And then we have a program that I want to talk to you about especially, and that is a program about dancing. And We're going to take a short break, and we'll come back and let Frank, who is the ballroom dancing guru and represents Pittsburgh Ballroom, he's going to tell us about how they are helping people with Alzheimer's and people with memory problems have a moment, maybe several moments, of joy and relaxation and happiness by dancing. This is Jim Roddey for St. Barnabas. We'll be right back in just a moment.
Honey, I'm so excited. I found the perfect solution for us and your parents.
Really?
It's St. Barnabas. For us, they have the Woodlands, a beautiful carriage home community.
Very interesting.
And for your parents, there's the Village. It has an indoor mall with shops, a place to do their banking, and great restaurants.
Plus, we can relax knowing they're safe and secure.
St. Barnabas has everything we're looking for.
Great. Let's schedule a tour.
This is Jim Roddey for St. Barnabas, and we're back with the best of Allegheny County, and we're talking about Alzheimer's and its treatments and things you can do to help. And we're talking with Midge Hobaugh, who runs the program at St. Barnabas, and with Sarah Murphy, who's the representative vice president of all of Pennsylvania for programming for the Alzheimer's Association. And now you would naturally expect that they would know a lot about helping people with their memory. But we have an unusual guest today, and his name is Frank Glazer. Frank is a volunteer member of the Pittsburgh Ballroom. Frank, first tell us about the organization, and then tell us how you got connected with people running memory programs, and tell us a little bit about that.
Sure. First, speaking to what Pittsburgh Ballroom is, we're a nonprofit social dance group that kind of specializes in the traditional 10 ballroom dances. We have social dances monthly. We have in excess of 200 members. Every one of our dances has an hour lesson before we start the dancing, the social dancing. And we're one of 5 dance clubs in the greater Pittsburgh area, but we're the only one that has outreach programs. All the others are kind of self-contained, only for dancing. In fact, our president's husband calls us an outreach program that also dances.
Well, now, how did you get connected with St. Barnabas?
Well, because of our outreach initiative, we established several years back a junior high teaching program where we go into junior highs and teach a class for a semester. It ends with a recital for their families. Secondly, we've always done senior outreach. We'll go to senior residences, church groups, anywhere there's a program needed. And we'll put on a 45-minute dance performance as part of their afternoon or evening entertainment. The latest initiative, the Alzheimer's Outreach, which we're calling Music, Memory, and Dance, really kind of fell into our lap, as it were.
Music,
Music,
memory, and dance.
Yes.
That's great. I love that.
Well, it's copied from a program in New York. A gentleman in 2006 started a program called Music and Memory. And what he discovered was that, and people knew this, but not related to Alzheimer's, he discovered that if Alzheimer's individuals listen to music of their era, it enlivens them. It changes their demeanor. Their physical attributes are enhanced. It may be short-term, 24 hours, may last as long as 48 hours. But he recognized it, and he did it repeatedly enough to establish a foundation in New York that's providing MP3 players, iPods to as many Alzheimer's individuals as he can. So growing out of that, our president and Sarah met by chance at a seminar. They discussed casually how we might help each other. Our president came to our board meeting soon after that and wondered out loud, how can Pittsburgh Ballroom help the Alzheimer's community? Coincidentally, I was dealing with a situation with my father-in-law. We were in the late stages of Alzheimer's with him. My wife was celebrating her 65th birthday. In celebrating the birthday, we had a DJ and we had dancing. I asked my wife to go ask her father to dance because he was sitting there tapping his fingers to the music, tapping his feet. He got up and danced as though he danced the day before.
Wow.
It took him back to that post-war era of when the veterans came back and all of VFWs just blossomed because of dancing.
Wow, that's a great, great story. So you came to St. Barnabas as one of the...
Again, by coincidence, I'm of the sentiment that if you do good things come to you. Midge and I met by coincidence at an Alzheimer's seminar, and it took a while, but we started to establish this program. And what the program is that volunteers of Pittsburgh Ballroom that I've recruited that have been trained by the Alzheimer's Association in the relationship aspect with the residents, that we know dance, But we wanted to make sure we knew how we were going to interact with these individuals. We got that training accomplished. Our DJ loaded MP3 players with music of their era. The next step was tenuous because my volunteers sitting with an individual at the Keene Theater, we weren't sure what was going to happen. Were the individuals going to be uncomfortable with a headset on? Might be a strange device to them. Were they going to recognize the music? If they had danced previously, were they going to be reawakened to dance again? We've had 3 sessions, and it's phenomenal the success that we've had.
I've heard some people that were there. I wasn't there, but I've heard some people that talk about that. And they said that this one lady could hardly get up the steps. I think there's 2 steps to get up to go on the stage at the Keene Theater, which, by the way, is a beautiful location and a great place to dance. And she barely could get up. And then a minute and a half later, she's dancing as if she could twirl around like a ballerina. It was amazing. And there's been articles in several newspapers recently about that because people are just astounded at the remarkable transformation of them just for a little while. And if you've sat and been with a person with Alzheimer's day after day after day, and when they're almost unresponsive about just about anything, and then all of a sudden they just blossom in a matter of moments, that really is important. And so you've got to feel good about that. Now, the dances, the ballroom dances are cha-cha, foxtrot, the hustle, quick step, rumba, samba, swing, tango, and waltz. What about twist? You don't do the twist.
We don't do the twist.
That's not exactly.
In fact, when we do our senior outreach, I make a very pointed discussion to say to the assembled audience, we will not do a twist today. We'll do line dances. We'll even do a polka if you want, but we don't do
no
a twist.
No chubby checkers.
No.
I met Chubby Checkers one time. And
he was a gentleman.
Yeah, very nice guy, and I met him in Philadelphia, where he's from Philadelphia, and I got to go and see him do the twist. Well, that's amazing. And, we have a doctor, Dr. Joseph Maroon. He's a neurosurgeon, world-renowned. He's a part of the St. Barnabas family, and he's been very interested in both the virtual reality and now in the dancing. And he has some interesting things to say about what happens to the brain and the messages that get sent to the brain. And perhaps we don't know yet. We don't know what the lasting effect of any of this is. We don't know whether virtual reality and losing yourself for a moment in another world because you're looking through some virtual reality glasses or dancing and hearing music, whether that's going to have a lasting effect. And we also don't know if we had started that years earlier, at the very onset of the disease, whether or not that would have extended the time, delayed the Alzheimer's, or perhaps even mitigated it somewhat. And so these are all things that people are studying, and all things that we really are going to be doing at St. Barnabas, staying on the leading edge. Midge, tell us how difficult it was for you to get all of this approved. Now, this is something brand new that no one had ever done. And in medical care, that's, you have to do 1,000 tests and all of those. How did you get this program through?
Well, I would like to say that it was a lot easier than maybe you're thinking. St. Barnabas is of the persuasion that if something is good for our residents, we'd like to give it a try, if at all possible. Frank's team through Pittsburgh Ballroom, they already had the checkbox of the Alzheimer's Association, who trained their dancers in approach, which is vital when you are working with someone with dementia. So we had that already established. As Frank mentioned, we met at a training with the Alzheimer's Association, and I wanted to hear more from him. I wanted to learn about Pittsburgh Ballroom, what their philosophies were as an organization specific to outreach, to see if we'd be a good fit. And I also wanted to educate him as to what St. Barnabas Memory Care Program looks like in terms of our belief system and what we hope to accomplish, because our philosophy in memory care is increase joy to lessen anxiety, and whatever modality we can use to affect joy in someone, then St. Barnabas is always giving a thumbs up that I'm okay to go ahead and proceed. So Frank and I met twice. He taught me a little bit about Pittsburgh Ballroom, and then at our second meeting, we talked about what St. Barnabas hopes to accomplish, and a Joy Through Dance program was born.
Well, Frank, how do your members, the ballroom dancers, how do they react, and what is their feeling about doing this?
Collectively, the organization and the board are 100% behind it. As I said earlier, our president's husband calls us an outreach program that dances. We're committed to outreach. We want to give back to the Pittsburgh community. So this is another step forward in doing that.
Well, have they enjoyed the experience?
There's no doubt. I mean, we're in senior centers twice a month doing our exhibitions. The Alzheimer's, we're doing that weekly for 3 months right now, and we'll see where that goes. But the individuals that are my volunteers every Monday are just overjoyed at doing it and overjoyed with the response. Just to give you a few examples, we have 8 individuals, 7 ladies, 1 gentleman. We've had stone-faced people sitting there, as you well understand sometimes with Alzheimer's individuals, that when they hear that music, the first thing is a smile. The second thing, maybe a sway. The third thing, tapping the fingers. The fourth thing is the tapping the feet. When we see the tapping of the feet, we generally can say to ourselves, these people want to dance. They want to move. Now, they're not going to dance as Pittsburgh Ballroom dancers dance, but they're going to dance to their benefit, to their mental health benefit, to their entire demeanor. 2 unique stories. One lady literally was stone-faced for 2 sessions, 2 Mondays in a row. A companion of hers told me a week before she was Polish and we didn't have a polka. So at the end of our normal session, I surprised them and I turned on the polka as loud as I could in that Keene Theater. Well, these 2, if you can imagine, literally as fast as they could, got up on the stage and did what they thought was a polka. And to them it was. We cried. We all cried because at the end of that day, 8 of our people were dancing on stage. It was wonderful.
Wow, that's a great story. Midge, where do we go from here?
Well, we will continue dancing until our grand finale on March 2nd, and we expect family and friends of the folks that are participating to come to the Keene Theater for a wonderful performance, and we will be opening it up to the surrounding community as well. I don't want to stop with just this one program that will have a wonderful performance on March 2nd, but I'm already talking to Frank. What can we do next? So we will see. So stay tuned for that, Mr. Roddey.
How does the Alzheimer's Association feel about this program? Are they excited about it? Is it something that they want to continue?
Absolutely. I get goosebumps sitting next to Frank as he's sharing these stories. And really, as we look at the impact that this program is having, the social connections, the interaction, the emotional memories that are being invoked as they're dancing is really changing, I think, the public's perception about people living with Alzheimer's disease and other dementias. This is really a great opportunity to highlight the wonderful partnership that we're seeing, but it also just really talks about the importance of those living with the disease. And so it's so exciting to see those moments of joy and memories, not only the people living with the disease, but also the volunteers. You know, it's impacting them. And so it's just a beautiful thing. And so we're excited to see things move forward and also awareness, bringing awareness, like, the opportunity to share with us today is a really big deal. So we appreciate it.
Frank?
Yeah, I need to add the story about the second personal individual story. So the other individual story that's important in all of this is that we have one gentleman of the group. He lives off-site. He lives at home with his wife. So he comes in every Monday, and his wife has related to us, Midge and myself, both personally and in emails, that it has changed their married life. She has lived with his disease for a while now. And since the beginning of this program, this man is more verbal, he's more physically active, he's social, and it's not short term. It's not 24 hours, it's not 48 hours. It lasts until the next Monday when he is raring to go. Now, that's not going to be the case for everybody, but we have made a difference in this family's life.
That's really interesting and wonderful to hear. And perhaps there will be more people that have that kind of reaction.
The other thing I want to acknowledge, and that collectively we get credit for this. This is the first time music and dance has been coupled with Alzheimer's individuals. Nowhere else in America has this been tried. If this works, it's to Alzheimer's benefit to run with it, either in the state of Pennsylvania, in the region, or nationally. Locally, Pittsburgh Ballroom is committed to doing this on all 4 points of the compass and as often as we can. 3-month periods seem to be the right time frame. So after 3 months, we're probably going to move on to another site. It's incumbent upon me, and Midge is going to put a little pressure on me, it's incumbent upon me to get more volunteers so that when we move on, maybe I can leave some behind at St. Barnabas. If I can do that, it's more of a success than I would have ever imagined.
Well, Midge, I think you're a very fortunate person to be in a program like this, doing the work that you're doing and having partners like the Alzheimer's Association and Pittsburgh Ballroom and having people like Frank and Sarah that are helping you. It's got to make you feel good.
I tell folks all the time that the work that I am permitted to do at St. Barnabas is sacred. And Frank started the interview by saying, if you do good things come back to you. And I can't tell you how fortunate St. Barnabas is to have both the Alzheimer's Association as a healthcare partner and now Pittsburgh Ballroom as our newest partner for wonderful things to come. So thank you.
Well, we are fond of saying about St. Barnabas that we are truly apart from the ordinary. Mm-hmm. And this program and the things that you're doing are certainly the definition of being apart from the ordinary. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Jim Roddey. You've been listening to The Best of Allegheny County. And today we've had a wonderful discussion by some professionals that are volunteers, sometimes some of them professionals, members of associations that are doing great work for a very difficult disease. We thank our listeners for joining us, and please tune in on Saturday mornings at 9 or Sundays at noon for The Best of Allegheny County, presented by St. Barnabas, apart from the ordinary. Learn more about St. Barnabas by calling 724-443-0700.
Catching football in the yard, trips to the drive-in, going fishing. Dad has always been by your side, making memories and taking care of the family. Today, Dad needs some help with daily care, and it's getting harder for him to live alone. St. Barnabas is here for your family. From on-site recreation to community outings, rest assured that your father will continue making memories in a safe, caring environment. To schedule a tour, call 724-443-0700.